It's Luke W coming back at you today. I got another special guest with us. We have Neil from Merch Informer, and we're going to be talking about making multiple streams of income, not only with the FBA, like I love to talk about on my channel, but Neil's actually going to introduce us to a couple other things. I know I've talked about merch by Amazon, creating t-shirts and other things like that to sell on Amazon. And basically you can do this with like $0 startup costs. So
The best part about it.
without further ado, Neil, can you give us a little intro? Tell us a little bit about your background, how long you've been doing this, and yeah.
Yeah, so my name's Neil. I run a software company called Merch Informer that relates to print on demand. I've been doing print on demand for about 3 or 4 years. Somewhere in the middle there, probably like 3.5 years. But Merch by Amazon came out in late 2015. So previous to 2015, actually in 2015, I was doing private label products through FBA. So I was ordering all my stuff from China, getting it all customized, getting it shipped over here. But at that time, I didn't know anyone like you, Luke. I didn't know about Facebook groups. I didn't know anything about any of this business. It was just me fiddling around on the computer. So I would find a product, I'd find the demand for the product, and I'd order the product, right? So I'd send it to Amazon. Hopefully everything would be good. It wasn't. I didn't know anyone in this space, so all of my private label products got stuck in customs multiple times. I had never heard of freight forwarding, so I was having the factory airship it over directly. I didn't really know what I was doing with UPCs. And I was just pretty fed up. Like, once I got the product into FBA, I started selling stuff, and then I got all the hijackers on my listing. So it's just one problem after another. And during that time, someone sends me a article on TechCrunch.com. You ever been to that website?
I think I've heard of TechCrunch, yeah, actually.
Yeah, so huge tech website, and they're like, okay, Amazon is launching this new thing for app developers. And so I'm reading through it, and it's like, okay, they've launched a platform that allows app developers to sell t-shirts, print-on-demand style, inside of their apps. So I'm reading through this, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm not an app developer. I don't have any t-shirts to sell in an app, but I realized at that moment, wait a minute, like, it's free to sign up, and all I have to do is like upload a PNG file, which is an image file, and then I have a product for sale on Amazon. Now, of course, I signed up, and I figured out how to like create some very, very simplistic designs. And when I say designs, like text-based stuff, right? Like you can put, my name is Luke, and upload. That's all it was. Got some products on Amazon. Within the first week, I think I had sold maybe seven products. I put up maybe 5 to 10 designs. Again, they were just text-based stuff. But I noticed that every time it sold, right, I didn't pay per listing. I didn't pay for the product. It took me 10 seconds to type something in like MS Paint or whatever I was using back at the time. Uploaded it to Amazon. I saw royalties start coming in. So every time a product sells on Amazon, instead of getting, whatever markup cut, they just give you a royalty. They say, okay, here's our base cost. Anything above that, here's the royalty we're going to pay to you. And I started seeing that money roll in. And guess what? No hijackers. Like, no one can jump on your listing, so I didn't have to deal with that. I no longer had to deal with suppliers in China. It's like the best thing ever. So from there, I basically just spent all of my time finding what customers were buying on Amazon in the clothing space, which is pretty much unlimited.
That's awesome. And yeah, just to touch on the whole FBA thing, like you started back when there wasn't all these resources and understanding.
Yes.
Like there's a lot more info out there now, but the premise still holds true that you can still create a free Merch by Amazon account and create these designs and get them out there. And you tell us about the tool that you created, which is like huge. Like, I mean, for Merch by Amazon sellers.
Yeah, so when I first got started, I was running a business here, a business here, a business here. I started Merch, and I'm like, oh my God, this is definitely the one I want to focus on. So I spent, 8, 10, 12 hours a day just searching for stuff on Amazon. Like, I'd look on my desk, I'd see a pocket knife, so I'd type in knife shirt. And then I'd cook food, and I'd be like, oh, how about cooking shirt, chef shirt? I'd spend all day looking at what people are buying, looking at the sales ranks, looking at the reviews of stuff that's already selling maybe through like FBA, FBM, because there wasn't really any products in the Amazon Merch by Amazon space yet because it had just launched. And I'm sitting there spending all day doing this. Meanwhile, all the other little businesses I was running are suffering, and I'm trying to think to myself, okay, how do I take my 12 hours of completely boring Amazon searching and condense that as far as possible? And that is where we kind of got the idea for Merchant Former of, if there was a software that would allow you to see where the customer demand is without spending 8 hours a day, then we'd have a winner, right? Then I could do all the research I need, get my products up, and move on. So I didn't spend all day on the computer, and that's what we did. And since we launched the software, we launched it with like 3 little modules that did exactly what I just told you, finds the customer demand. We've basically built the software along with Merch by Amazon. So what I mean by that is, maybe a year or two ago, everyone woke up and realized, oh, you can't use any phrase you want on a t-shirt. There might be a trademark for that. Like, you can't use Nike on a t-shirt. Clearly that's another company's logo, company's name. We're like, oh, everyone needs a tool to be able to check trademarks. Let's build that into the software. So we've continued building it over the past 3 years and making it kind of like an all-in-one inclusive tool for Merch by Amazon sellers.
Yeah, that's huge. And I mean, for you guys watching my channel that are all familiar with the FBA stuff, I'll like leave a link below to just the video that I created to show you how I got set up to Merch by Amazon. It just took me 2 weeks and I got accepted. You have to request an invitation, and I'll have a link down for Merch Informer, which I have a little discount code that you guys can kind of look into after you get your account up and everything. And you guys even have like a whole like YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, so we have a YouTube channel where I don't post that often. When I usually do post, it's either on a YouTube video going over, hey, how do I find, what t-shirts are selling? What should I do? How should I approach this? Because like when you first get started, you really don't know what's going on. It's kind of hard to grasp the concept, but as soon as it like clicks in your mind, instead of me spending all my time trying to figure it out.
Right. Okay, we're getting a little internet craziness, but I think we're good now. So I want to ask you, and for all the beginners, they're probably going to want to ask this too, like how long does it take to, like I said, it took me 2 weeks to get the invitation accepted. How long does it take to get accepted, get a product in? And you deal with way more people that are doing this than like I know about. So what's the kind of time frame to get some products in, make some sales, and maybe some advice on getting sales and where the current situation of merch is today?
Yeah, so way back when I got started, it was brand new. You literally signed up and got an account immediately, right? Then all of these people like me saw that this was a huge opportunity and started signing up. So then they put a wait period where you had to apply. Mm-hmm. And back then, the Amazon merch team was like 3 or 4 people, right? So those application times were forever. But now it's a lot like you were saying. So it's typically you apply for an account, and when you say apply for an account, it's basically what's your name, what kind of shirts you're going to design, tell us about yourself, do you have a website, apply. So super, super easy. And after that, it's usually about a week to 2 weeks. So, 7 to 14 days, you can get approved. Once you're approved, just literally log in, go to create product at the very top, and upload an image. Very, very simple. I mean, from beginning to end, once you have an account, you can get a new product launched in, I would say, a minute. Probably less. But I think the big thing to realize with Merch by Amazon, and specifically print on demand, is there's not a single cost. I mean, Luke, how long, when you find a new product to sell for FBA, how long does it take you to get that product into Amazon and for sale?
Yeah, so I mean, FBA is going to be way more like you got to know all these moving parts. But after you learn it, it's going to come to you much faster, creating these shipping plans, doing all this. But, it's going to take people, if they're beginners, a few weeks at least to, get the hang of product research to find a good product. Then it might take another week or 2 to, go from 10 suppliers that you're talking to down to 2 or 3, and then narrow it down from there to pick your best supplier with the best deal. Then it takes, 1 to 2 weeks at least for them to manufacture and then ship it in. So you're looking at, from the time that you learn Amazon from maybe finishing a course or something, like, 2 months, month and a half or something, and then
What's like the best case scenario if you have everything in a row and like you are like, I need to launch a new product. This is it. This is what I'm going to use. What's the best case scenario there?
I mean that it's still going to take a month standard to just
A
have
month,
your
okay.
product manufactured and shipped and arrived in Amazon, at least, a month for that. So during that time, you're still going to be
Okay.
maybe lining people up that are going to be able to buy it and then leave the reviews and kind of rank you up or something like that, or optimize your listing. So there's still things you can do in the meantime, but you'll have some downtime in that time.
So that right there is why, like, I saw the writing on the wall as soon as this was launched. I can basically go from idea to product to selling on Amazon in a few minutes. So to give you a good example, I like to watch political debates on TV. I think they're very entertaining. What I like to do is watch the debates, and 98% of the time they're going to say something ridiculous. Someone that is going to make people laugh or emotional or you name it. I'll use my phone. We have a designer built into Merch Informer, so I'll use my phone to go into the designer. As soon as someone says something, I'll write it down, download it, upload it to Amazon, and sometimes I'll have a sale in the next hour or two. So from idea to actually making a sale, it can be literally as little as an hour.
And that's
why I love print on demand.
Dude, that's awesome. And that's the premise of this video. It's like, if you want to just get your feet wet with making some kind of entrepreneurial spirit or ideas, like, you can start Merch by Amazon and just figure out how it works. It's probably going to be easier for you in the future to get a hang of the more business crazy structured thing like private labeling, which I love to do as well. But then it's multiple streams. You can do Merch by Amazon, print on demand, and your tool even allows you to, create the Kindle book covers or whatever and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so there's another software that we also run. It's called bookbolt.io. What we notice a lot of people doing is, if anyone's familiar with Kindle, Kindle Direct Publishing, called KDP, it allows normal authors, right, to self-publish their books. But there's also this really cool method that a lot of people are using successfully, myself included, where they're taking their designs that they're selling on t-shirts and they're selling on hoodies and pop sockets. They're putting those on book covers, right? And they're doing low-content books. So what do I mean by low-content books? A journal. So the interior pages are just lined. A log book. I mean, stuff where you don't have to actually write anything, but they're for sale on Amazon, and every time someone buys it, it's not like there's any inventory. KDP will print them and ship them to the customer, and again, just give you a royalty for doing pretty much nothing. I mean, the only thing you're really doing is you're doing research, and you're putting an interior and a cover, and you're putting them together, and you're uploading.
Right. I mean, that's awesome. Yet another stream of income there. But I wanted to ask you kind of, what are the setbacks? I know the royalties aren't super high, but then you can also set up tons and tons of products. You unlock new tiers and everything.
Yeah, so, I mean, specifically with Merch by Amazon, I mean, the setbacks are you have a little less control, all right? But, I mean, at the very end of the day, we're all kind of playing in Amazon's, sandbox, if you will. So you have a little bit less control. I guess another setback is sometimes Amazon is going to take the liberty to remove products or not let you publish a product because of trademarks that might exist. So they might be not as lenient as an FBA seller would have that leniency with them. So there's a little bit of drawback there. Almost all I can think of, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
is not as much control, I guess.
And then your tool also kind of has so many other things built into it, and it's not even that expensive of a tool for what you guys offer, I believe. And it's just like, you have the trademark checker, and honestly, when I tried to create my first design, when I got my account, I went into Canva, tried to do something and upload the PNG, and my image wasn't working for whatever reason, so I had to go into the Merch Informer tool and use that designer. And then you guys have every month you're adding these giant amounts of free images and things that you can upload based on the season and just create new designs from the images that you guys bring into the tool.
Yeah, so the first thing you mentioned was, this is funny because most people that get started with Merch by Amazon, they try to create the image and they try to upload it, and it never works because it's not in the correct dimensions. So they need to be in the correct dimensions with the correct DPI. So I think that's dots per inch. Now again, I'm not a designer, right? Like I like to find opportunity where people are buying and give them product. So research is kind of my background, but a lot of people aren't using the correct dimension. So there's a dimension specifically for t-shirts. Okay, and that'll work across t-shirts and sweat. It won't work for normal sweatshirts. But for hoodies, there's a different dimension, and for pop sockets, it's a third different dimension. So it's a pain if you're just getting started. Like you said, our designer tool inside of Merch Informer, like if you're gonna design a hoodie, you just click hoodie, and when you click download, it's gonna download in the right dimensions every time, which is very, very easy. But you also mentioned we give for the pro level subscribers, it's like $19.99 a month. So we have two tiers. $9.99 includes most things, and then the $19.99 includes everything. We have some designers on staff. They're illustrators. Every month we take suggestions from our users, and we get 100 hand-drawn illustrations put together that you can use commercially free in your designs. And the reason we did that is so many people out there are buying design packs from Etsy, from Creative Canva. Is that what it's called? Something like that. They're basically buying all these designs around the internet, and a lot of them have licenses that aren't specific to print on demand. So let's say you buy an image from Etsy, and you're going through and you read their license agreement, and it says you can use this on one end product, and you can make 5 sales from it. It's like I have shirts that have sold tens of thousands of copies. Like I could get in big trouble if I did that. I know a lot of other people would too. So we basically put together a license that says, essentially, do whatever you want. Like you'll have to read it, but it's very, very open-ended to basically help everyone out to make more money.
And yeah, that's huge. That already helped me get my first designs up, just so I get good at what Merch by Amazon people want. Let's wait for
Fiverr. To be 100% transparent, I personally have never had a very good experience through Fiverr. A lot of the times I've seen designers on Fiverr will try to resell designs they make to other people. Now, that being said, I am not a designer. I absolutely hate that part of the process. So what I do is I find designers on Upwork.com. I've got a guy that's been working for me for like 6 years. Before I did Merch, he's a designer, right, for my other businesses. And I pay him like $4 a design. So in terms of upfront costs, one sale will cover the cost of that product, and then everything else is literally just infinite ROI if you want to look at it that way.
That's so awesome. And like the reason I really wanted to get into this, because I know like kind of the private label thing for me is going to be the bread, butter, big money making thing for me, but I want to also create more of like the personal brand or just build some cool products. Like I want to ask you, like, what are the cool niches to get into that are just going to help you get a ton of sales? And then there's this like passion type thing as well, where I can build my own skate line of t-shirts for skateboarders, or entrepreneur type t-shirts, which I'm really interested in, but I also want the trending things to make sales too.
Yeah, so it's literally going to depend on kind of like what you want to do. So we have a tool inside of Merch Informer that's going to show you every day with literally one click of a button the best selling shirts for that day on Amazon. It's called the Merch Hunter. If you go in there and you click and you look through the results and you see right now it's basically dominated with a bunch of Valentine's Day shirts. Mm-hmm. But in order to actually make sales, you need to look and see, okay, I see that Valentine's Day is a huge seller. How can I be unique? Because if you're going into it and you're thinking, well, I'm just going to make another shirt that has one heart on it, you're not going to make any money. You're probably going to get a little frustrated, right? So the big niches, you have to be unique, use unique phrases. We were talking right before we got on the live. What I like to do is go to Pinterest, type in like a funny Valentine's Day shirt, and then I find a funny saying and I cross-reference that with how many results are on Amazon. And if I figure out, okay, I know that Valentine's Day shirts are selling. There's a ton of money in that. But how do I break into it? Okay, I have this unique phrase I found somewhere else. No one's selling it on Amazon. I'm going to put that on a shirt in the Valentine's Day niche where all the buyers are, and that's how you stand out. But again, you were talking about creating like an offshoot brand for like entrepreneurs. The easiest way to do that, I mean, specifically like in your position, is you have an outside audience. Like it's not always the greatest idea to rely on organic traffic. I mean, it's there. Trust me, Amazon has tons of people shopping. But if you have a YouTube channel, if you go to local meetups for whatever the reason, if you have an audience somewhere, you can you don't have to play a pricing game. You don't necessarily have to be the most unique. Although I definitely recommend it just to keep you and your account and everything in good standing. But it's all about the audience and finding those unique angles that you can enter in those different niches.
Okay, that's a good point. And tell me how important the reviews are for things. I see a lot of shirts with just 0 reviews,
Yeah, so my take on reviews, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with me on, but I like to price pretty low because, I mean, that's why Amazon got started, right? They sold books, they wanted to have the best price, and they wanted to sell as many as possible. So I kind of come at the business of print on demand in the same way possible. I price pretty low, so I'm not making as much money up front. I want to sell as many products as possible. And when you get, the review rate for products on Amazon as a whole, sort of merch by Amazon, is very low. So if you're going to get reviews on shirts, like you have to sell a lot of them typically. But once you get those initial reviews, you will be ahead of everyone else for that niche or that specific phrase or that design, always. Like hands down, always. So what I'll do is I'll price. So for example, the normal price of a shirt on Amazon, $19.99. I might design a shirt, put it up at $14.99, where maybe I'm only making $1.50 or something each time I sell it. I'll sell 100 of them. I'll get 5 reviews. I'll boost it to $19.99. I'll boost it to $21.99. Above that, and I'll continue selling the same amount of products because now I have that social proof. And I'll outsell everyone doing nothing. All I did was play with my pricing strategy a little bit.
That's a great idea, and that's what, when I had Ryan Hogue on my channel just the other day, I just had a subscriber be like, dude, I listened to that whole thing when I was in the gym. It just fired me up. So that was
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was sweet. But he was also saying, yeah, when I get shirts, I'm literally charging like the break even. It was like $13.79 or some super low price.
Yep, it's in the 13s.
And then, but from there, I was going to ask you, do you know, because us FBA sellers, sometimes we're going to use special URLs and really focus on getting reviews with Merch by Amazon. You can upload like thousands of designs when you're at that tier, so you're not going to focus on every product as you would your one FBA product so important to you. But
right.
Could people buy it through a 2-step URL or a super URL, rank for the keyword, and then have your friends leave reviews and stuff?
No, so there's really none of the super URL stuff with Merch by Amazon. Doesn't really work. The friends leaving reviews thing, I know some people do it. It's explicitly against the terms of service.
Right.
I know a few people who've gotten busted just by posting in Facebook groups doing it. So I wouldn't do that. But like you said, like it's really not about focusing on one product. So what I'll do is, let's say I upload 100 shirts in one day, which I know sounds like a lot for everyone watching this, but in reality, like it could just be like some simple text, like block text, right? No images or anything. So I upload 100 shirts. Maybe I come back around next week or a month from now, and I'll just go through my sales report and I'll say, okay, this one sold 10, this one sold 5, this one sold 8. I'll open them up and I'll be like, oh, this one has a review. I'm going to bump the price on that. And then I'll swing back another week. I'll swing back in another month. So it's not like you're laser focused in on one product. It's more of just, hey, make sure you look at your sales report every once in a while. Because the reason I bring that up, if Ryan is pricing at break even, do you remember when the solar eclipse happened like a year or two ago?
Yeah.
So there was a Merch by Amazon seller who made like over $100,000 in 1 month from one T-shirt on Merch by Amazon, and all it was a date. So the date of the solar eclipse, and then a picture of a solar eclipse beneath it. That was it, right? Insane. So there was also another seller who did the strategy that Ryan was talking about, which does work, right? You get the sales velocity going. The guy or gal, whoever did it, forgot to raise their price. He's selling like tens of thousands of these a month, and he never raised his price. He didn't make a single dollar on it. So like you're sitting there. I mean, I'm watching this happen in real time. Every time I go back, so inside a merch informer, inside the merch hunter, I was just watching his product. Every day I take a look, like what's the sales rank? Did he raise the price? And the price is just break even across the board. He never raised it. So someone out there is like, $50,000 down the drain that he could have been making.
If he just raised it by like $1 or $2, he would have
Yep.
exponentially tripled and quadrupled his income. That's sad, man.
It is sad, but that's why you have to swing back around and like pay a little bit of attention, because like you said, when you have thousands of products, it is hard. But if you're actually just going through a sales report, that's a lot easier.
Right. Is there anything like, and do you get that through Merch by Amazon itself or in your tool, and you can like filter by what's making the most sales per month, something like that?
Yeah. So Merch by Amazon, there's a tab over there where you just pick a date, today's date or the last week, or the last month or whatever, and click show sales, and it just basically will show you, okay, here's the title, here's the image, here's the price, here's how many sold. And you just scroll through there, open up some links. They're all like clickable links, so you can open them up real quick and kind of see how your product is doing.
Okay, that makes sense. And for any of you guys find any value in this video, please drop a thumbs up. I know this was kind of a last-minute live stream and everything, but if you're in here, drop any comments and questions you have. Neil, we're going to wrap it up soon here. I just want to see any kind of final like comments that you have or ideas for beginners. Like, just go send it, go get in there, because it's literally $0 to start, or like, what advice?
So first thing, sign up for Merch by Amazon, because that's the only piece of the puzzle, if you will, that takes any amount of time. Second piece of advice, get the typical t-shirt design. And it can just be text. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be Picasso. So you just create some funny stuff. And in the meantime, when you're waiting on Merch by Amazon, there's a lot of other places that you can sell on too, like Redbubble. You can sell all these products through Etsy. Now with Etsy, that's a little bit more complicated. If you're interested in that, I have a big blog post on it. But with some of these print-on-demand platforms, you need a print partner. A lot of the people I know are using something called Printful. But it's the same sort of concept, right? You can list on these marketplaces that have buyers on them and that don't have very many buyers in terms of, sellers.
Okay.
So Etsy, right? Excellent market. For some reason, the buyers on Etsy are willing to spend more money on the same products. Okay? So it's a little bit different than if you're doing FBA. Like, I don't know if you can really do that kind of thing with Etsy. But on Etsy, like, I can sell a t-shirt on Etsy for $30 all day long, right? And my print costs might be 10. So, I mean, the profit margins there are huge. The only downside with Etsy, though, is you're going to have to deal with customers. Now, if you're coming from, like, the FBA side of things, you're probably already used to that. But with Merch by Amazon, you never talk to a customer. It's the greatest thing ever.
Right. I mean, with the FBA, like, I actually put a little insert card in my packaging with a Google Voice phone number which has like
Nice.
a professional like company, me pretending I'm the CEO of my company kind of thing. But
I love it.
I like that because it's a higher end item. It sells for $180. I'm getting them for $60, so big profit there, like $85 per unit. I don't want refunds. Sometimes customers don't know how to turn it on even, and I get them on the phone, they call me, and I save refunds all the time. So it's little things like that. Usually Amazon handles the customer service, any returns that happen, but with Merch by Amazon, man, like, you have zero upfront cost unless you want to pay someone a couple dollars to make you a design, or go with, $10 a month, $20 a month, less than that with the discount I have below for Merch Informer, and then you got hundreds of designs coming at you every month kind of thing. So
yeah, and the thing is, like, think about your product specifically, right? You said you were spending $60 on the product. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're constantly having to order that product, right? So, like, your money is tied up in your inventory until you can sell it through.
right. I mean,
And
yeah.
For me, that was kind of a struggle. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's big money in FBA, but if I don't have to outlay that money that I know is sitting there in inventory, I can use it for other things. I can use it for marketing. I can use it for more designs. Well, the designs are a lot cheaper than like a higher end FBA product. So I think it's a little bit easier, but most of the sellers I know on Merch by Amazon came over from the FBA space, and they do both.
Right.
It's just another stream of income. They use the money they use from their merch, or they get from their merch account, or they use the money they're getting from their FBA account, and they just funnel it in between the businesses to grow bigger.
That's exactly the whole premise of the video. I'm glad we kind of rounded it out with that right at like 30 minutes. So, I mean, where can they go find you, Neil? I'm going to leave maybe like your YouTube channel and the Merch Informer link down below, but anything else that you got going?
Not currently. If you guys go to merchinformer.com and then click on the blog, I have written hundreds of thousands of words worth of guides and videos and everything. So definitely check those out. They're completely free, and that should get you started in making your first few sales through Merch by Amazon.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I'm grateful to have you, the creator of this tool, on my channel, man. That's pretty huge. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, and thank you all for those of you watching this video today. Again, please drop a thumbs up. Go share it with any of your friends that are, sitting in the 9-to-5 grind and they want another way to make some money, man.
Perfect.
So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Yep.